I want to welcome you to this astrology forecast for the full moon coming up on December 18th of this year. And I also want to take some time talking about other very, very important aspects at the culmination of this year and into 2022 as well. So, that was a short introduction. I'm not going to take a whole lot of time with that introduction because there's a lot of things that I want to discuss and talk about here. So, first of all, on December the 1st of this year, Neptune, which is in Pisces, it's been there for a long time and it's the natural placement of Pisces. Neptune is the planet of dreams, illusion, escapism, getting lost in things, escaping from this reality, drugs. When the discovery of Neptune brought along cameras and photography. This also looks at unconditional love, merging, and divine kind of like really that divine connection. Um, and also role rules in terms of bread. Um, you know, really digging deep into somebody and again that empathy, it also rules things like empathy. So that went direct, which really, really opens up those spiritual gateways because it's spirituality, seeing the divine light in you know anyone or as many people, helping them, wanting to serve them, and just being in that state. Neptune is the planet of dreams, also. Dreams, dreamy romantic um, fantasies. I always think of the mermaid when it comes to Pisces. I know the symbols of Pisces. You have the two fishes swimming in opposite directions, but another symbol is the mermaid. If you've seen the Little Mermaid, that's a Pisces there. So the mermaid, if you think about that, is very, very Piscean in a lot of it because she dreams of being a human being above the sea and everything. And in the sea, you can imagine if Pisces, you know, is the fish going in opposite directions, disconnected but connected in a sort of way by a chain linking a lot of consciousness and so many different things, and it's in the water. Pisces is immutable water. And so, yeah, so we have that going for us. And, the evolution not only means change, but also growth of the sign of Pisces, is, Pisces and Virgo. Virgo is the material, Pisces is the mystical, the spiritual. Synthesagically speaking, what does mystical taste like? Does it taste like um, uh, um, like a mango pineapple smoothie or something else? I don't know. I just thought that I'd mention that. So Virgo is, and this is not, the full moon between Virgo and Pisces, but it is worth mentioning that Virgo is the, very, it's ruled by Mercury, so it's very analytical, very mental. This is mental energy, high charge. It can be high strung, really, all about making lists and organizing things and making a clean, pure lifestyle, um, in the material form and those practical steps that you need. But sometimes, the Virgo really, really needs to step back and go, what is the meaning of this? What is the purpose of this? Pisces is the dream. Pisces is the illusion. Pisces allows with the universe and all the and spiritual practices like um, meditation, things that you get lost in. Music is also because those altered forms of reality, altered states, and it bridges the worlds. Instead of closing them off, it bridges with them. So Virgo and Pisces is really the bridge between those worlds, and Pisces is too, with the Pisces, sun and moon, but looking at this opposition. So that is really that axis. It's called an axis in astrology, the opposite sign. If you have, say, an Aries Libra axis, that would be independence versus co-independence. Taurus and Scorpio is all about wealth. Taurus is the material wealth, and Scorpio is the wealth that comes from, more inner wealth. And it talks about letting go of, more of the material things, for example. So now we're going to be looking at the Sagittarius season that we have been in, which is the time to celebrate. This is the time for real optimism, excitement, enthusiasm, joy, real love for life. And just the gates are open. The gates of possibility and wonder and ambition and curiosity and exploration are, open, very open during the Sagittarius season. And I want to say more so in the fall than the summertime because I don't know if this is a true fact, but I believe that the weather has an impact on how open your mind is. Because when the summer was so hot and stale and dry and long and humid and tired, it went on forever. And then I was noticing that on the 14th of several months ago, um, the weather cooled and I could wear pants, and I was just feeling so alive. I was feeling just refreshed, this new kind of beginner mind, beginner energy, and that comes with that fall, that new initiating time, and so many airy, the element of air, the possibilities like books and things to do and things to learn. You're so creative, and there's and that comes with that shift in season, I think. So Sagittarius season, very jovial and spontaneous. When it comes to the planet Jupiter, which is the ruler of Sag, you can imagine Santa Claus, or you can imagine the ghost of Christmas present in A Christmas Carol. If you look at his character, then that is Jupiter. He is basically a very Jupiterian individual, if that's even a word. Mercury, which is the planet that is the messenger of the gods, messenger, delivering information, communicating. You see these references between mythology in real life, and mythology, planetary, and astrology. Mercury is the planet of the mind and processing and learning, and Mercury in Sagittarius is blunt, wise, truth telling. It's not going to just um, cut around it, it's not going to try to sugarcoat things. Mercury in Sagittarius is the storyteller. It's a wild placement. People with this placement are very humorous, very engaging, very enthusiastic. Broad, adventurous individuals mentally. This is about expanding your horizons and really getting a higher view and a fresh perspective, which is what so many people around the world have been longing for this year in 2021 is that fresh perspective on things, that looking at the big picture. I know that I have been. Then we have Mars in Sagittarius. Mars in Sagittarius joining the Sun in Sagittarius. Mars is the planet of assertion. It is that masculine planet of, drive and energy and how we manage our life, how we, like if our life was a car, how we would drive and direct our life, and the goals and taking advantage. It's that red planet of action in Sagittarius, joining the Sun, which is the ego, which is basic personality, the sign that you were born under, what wants to be recognized and seen and appreciated and loved. Joining the Sun, Mars will move into Sagittarius on the 13th of December 20. On the 13th of December of this year, Mars will join the Sun mid-month in Sagittarius. This is so exciting because it's going to create this expansive, joyous, just party. Just this party energy. Really giving us the drive, determination, the energy, and the wanting to be free. To really, if you think about Sagittarius as the archer, shooting that arrow, wanting to chase down goals. Now, on to the full moon. We're going to talk about the full moon. So, full moons are very, very emotional. People get more emotional around the full moons when the sun and moon are in opposite signs. The new moons are when the sun and the moon are in the same sign, canceling each other out. And when they cancel each other out, it could just. But when the sun and moon are opposite, it's like the energy will be there because it's fat. It's a fat full moon. You see wolves that howl at them, woo, So yeah, wolves howl at the new moon. Uh, I am living in the twilight zone. The full moon. Venus is retrograde. Begins its retrograde cycle on the 19th of December. 5. Now, sometimes I'll say the year name, but if I don't want to say 2021, and if I say 5, which is the year number, know what I'm talking about. So I will probably do a little interchanging. No, it all depends. I don't know. We'll just see. But so Venus is the planet of love, relationship, harmony, balance, beauty, our values, what we find beautiful, what we decorate our lives with. And although I'm not a fan of this, and I don't, you know, like, I don't want to say this, but it also rules money. And the reason why I don't want to say it is because money is dollars and coins. It is the way that a lot of things work, and It overcomplicates things. Not only that, I mean, it can inconvenient and overcomplicate, but can also be used badly as the root of all evil. Money is the root of all evil. There's that saying for a reason. And it's not the root of all evil. There's evil without money, but a lot of it, most majority really has to do with money. People will do anything for money. There are people smuggling in money. And also, um, you know, there are positives and negatives to everything. Things to be used for good purposes or for bad, for harm. Um, so Venus will be in Capricorn, which Venus retrograde really looks at our values. When a planet goes retrograde, it goes back over. So we have time to reflect. And when it moves through the sign, when it becomes direct again into the next sign, it's the integration phase. Integrating those things in our lives. You know, initiating those things. So, um, so yeah, looking at what we're attracted to, changing our tastes, um, and Venus in Capricorn is, very quality, they don't mess around. Quality control, very, looking for high quality things. People put a lot of effort and time and energy into making this fine meal or this beautiful home or real taste and aesthetic for the high class things that are wealthy, very wealthy things that a lot of wealthy people make. And I want to use that word because it's one of my um, terms. Well, it's not, but anyway. So, Uranus and Taurus. Uranus is that freedom, that liberation, and that wild lightning bolt planet that just changes things up. Is in Taurus. Looking at our values as well, looking at how we care for the earth, Mother Nature, and what really matters to us, shifting things in the long term. This is a good time for reflection. I'll say it isn't the best time to, start new things. Now on December 22nd, now I'm going to talk about the next thing. Um, that is the beginning of Capricorn season. So the sun moves out of Sagittarius. So December 22nd, also known as the winter solstice, is a time for celebration, a time for jubilation and welcoming in the new season. There's that mixed flavor. You could be out in nature along the road, and I could be sitting on my bed and just doing this while that mix, while the sun is transitioning, and so it's a mixed flavor, and it's all about prophecy. Sagittarius, the archer, the sage, the um, very very wise and very adventurous and very wide, broad, and wants to chase things down. Capricorn really climbs up that mountain and achieves. And so, yeah, prophecy. Um, so, the sun in Capricorn laying down the foundations. Number 4 is ruled by Saturn. I want to say, foundations, work, business, laying down those earthly foundations. A good time to set New Year's resolutions, even if it's not entirely next year, it's still the end of this year. I think that's the point of it. Um, this is a time to ground and prep for the upcoming year ahead. In pagan times, in the Druid times, on the 21st or the 22nd, depending on various factors, basically these 2 days, they would stop and they would just slow down, pray, and acknowledge the changing of the seasons, and they would celebrate this. Arendelle, Nordic Frozen, all those types of things. Now, something that I have not mentioned yet. There's a dwarf planet, Chiron, and I don't know much about this planet, but I do know that it goes direct um, this month, which is really about healing. Healing others, healing those parts of ourselves, really, really picking up the momentum and you know, putting a close and a culmination on those things in the past, and then a fresh start moving on. This is there's going to be some shifts in our emotions and real opportunities for adventure um, this coming full moon, and with all these aspects. There's going to be some introspection on your beliefs and philosophies and how they evolved. Evolved not only means change, but also grew and, creating new beliefs, new philosophies, just like the um, solar eclipse on the 4th. Not only that, but Mercury, which is, as we know, the planet of communication, moves into Capricorn, grounds us, and really, really the mind is directed toward practical things in reality, in the earth, and really, really matters. Getting ourselves kind of straightened out about things and clear and focused and organized and step by step, one step at a time, and really a great time for planning or organizing something that is in the practical realm of things. This full moon is the last full moon of the year. Sagittarius, we've already talked about that. Gemini is wild, it's childlike, it's dual, the twins. All about communication, verbalizing our feelings and beliefs, our emotions, as well as I said, new resolutions. Now, Christmas Eve, the upcoming Christmas Eve, December 24th, we've had exact squares between Saturn and Uranus. And on Christmas Eve, it's going to be the final, the final of those squares in the year 5. And Saturn and Uranus is the backdrop. Is the main year of 2021, has been in place 2020, and it will continue into year 6. Next year, 2022. So Saturn is the planet of time. Saturn is the god of time. Why would that be the first thing that I would mention about Saturn? But it is really that, cold planet, the planet of, your life lesson, your life purpose, career, getting the work done very, very serious and set in solid reality. And basically, wherever Saturn is in your chart, it restricts. It's like the father figure, the discipline, your discipline, and how disciplined you are with Saturn. What is your discipline? Why are you here? And if you can imagine that authoritarian sort of um, archetype with Saturn, and in myth, Saturn ate, his children, things like that. So, you can imagine. And Uranus, just wants to break free of all those structures and foundations and all those types of things. It's further out that why, if they were to fight, Uranus would win just by the sound of it. Uranus was discovered around the time of the French Revolution, the American Revolution, the Industrial Revolution. Technology and, all these things, that structures that had been in place, are coming down. So this aspect is not comfortable. Trines are very comfortable. Squares are not so comfortable. But a good time to really marry two things that don't get along together and see other perspectives and evolve ultimately. With a square between one side and another to find that middle ground and to have a balance between these two conflicting flavors. This brings a lot of growth and some tension. Really having ourselves taking a look at the old structures, ways of thinking versus the new. Saturn and Uranus is the old versus the new. And how are we going to shape our structures and functions into more community-based societies and groups and things like that for the people? The idea of the people, we the people. Declaration of Independence, the American Revolution, breaking away from the King George of England. And I also want to mention horizontal energy. Horizontal versus vertical. Vertical is top down. Top down. You have the kings and the lords and rulers, leaders at the top, and then as you make your way down, the rich get richer. Some people are above others. Some people have more money. They're up higher in society with the status quo. They have, more freedoms, more rights, etc. They have it easier, etc. And then down the people at the bottom. Horizontal energy is Aquarian energy. See this? No one's above the other. There's no pedestal. There's no pyramid. There's no nothing. Everyone's at the same level. And, the world is changing. As we know, we're moving toward a new Earth as Pluto is finishing its final degrees in the sign of Capricorn. We'll move into Aquarius, which is going to bring a new generation and so many wonderful, exciting things happening. Uranus is about shaking things up, sudden change, building new traditions, making structures, that lightning bolt, the maverick as well. Community-based societies, expressing your individuality, in very humanitarian way. The saying is, the mantra for Aquarius is, I do it my way, and I encourage you to do it your way. So embracing and being open and curious, to other perspectives of way of, new innovations of ways that people, go about their lives, or clothes that people wear, or, turning your quirks into perks, basically. Shakes up society, and society and how it affects our personal lives. Now, on the day of 5/1, December 29th, 5, Jupiter will transition on that day, on the 29th, from Aquarius into Pisces. It's going to stay there until the 10th of May, so it's going to rocket through Pisces of next year. And then it will move into Aries from, that point until sometime in the summer or early fall. On the 28th of October, around Halloween time next year, then it will be moving retrograde, going back over Pisces, and then December 20th, it will move into Aries officially. So, an energetic Christmas that'll be. So retrogrades back through Pisces until December 22nd. So Jupiter, let's talk about that. The planet of luck, expansion, joviality, blessings, abundance, wisdom, expanding whatever it touches. Jupiter, before Neptune was discovered, Jupiter was the ancient ruler of Pisces, so it's very, very comfortable there. Expansion, wanting to merge with others and expanding water and compassion and fantasy and dreaming things up and imagination and creativity. A lot of artisticness going on here. Artistic, unconditional love, spiritual growth. Wonder about the world. Immutable water, so there might be floods and things like that, because there's no really limit. It's hard to kind of, it's maybe an overwhelmed feeling of, empathy overload, maybe. You know, might have to be gates on water that might have to be drawn. Dreams and ideals. And the mystical realm as well. So that was a lot of information. Thank you for tuning in and listening to this video and watching this video for the upcoming full moon on December 18th, 5, and all the other aspects I talk about. If you like this video, hit the little like button, subscribe to my channel, and if you hit the bell, then you'll get my latest videos when they come out.